Hello. Hello, everybody. Let me let people know that I'm live. Okay, hello. So I've let people know that I'm live. Ah. Okay. 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 Ugh, that was depressing. So I was just checking Twitter. Oh, let me go to the just chatting screen. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. There we go. So I was scrolling through Twitter to see if there was anything cool to talk about, because I like to find some ideas of what's going on in current events to just chit chat about stuff before we get into the actual meat and potatoes uh of the stream. It's funny that I say meat and potatoes because I don't eat meat, but I do love me some potatoes. But I shouldn't love potatoes because they are carb, but they have potassium, so they help keep my blood pressure down. It's like, are the potatoes good or are they bad? I don't know. But like I saw that atheism is trending, and I'm like, okay, I am writing a story about, well, that kind of deals with some of my own religious trauma, right? And so my thought was, let me see what people are saying. What's the discourse currently going around about atheism? And see if it might give me some ideas or perspectives of what I'm going to be working on. My pastor hasn't really gotten back to me yet. I don't know if he forgot or if he's just really busy. I might message him later on this week and be like, hey, do you have time anytime? This story has kind of become more of a big deal to me, and I'd like to talk to somebody about it and get some ideas. I'm kind of feeling around in the dark right now. And I think there's also something special to that feeling around in the dark, trying to find my own answers and definitions to some of these problems. And I think there's some part of that that helps with keeping this story genuine and like true to me, true to my beliefs. But like, so there's something that I've been really like thinking about, and that's that like I have been taking this story really seriously. That's kind of what I do. I take a silly idea and I take it way too seriously and I follow it to its natural to some kind of conclusion, right? That's kind of my thing. Like that's my MO, that's what I do. That's how I come up with things for D&D and other tabletop role-playing games is I take an idea that's really ridiculous and I take it way too seriously and make it a thing. And that's just how my brain works. But I realized that at some point I was taking this story too seriously even for me. I was trying to find all of the answers to all of the world's problems and religion and everything in this story when that's not within the scope here. I don't have to deal with a whole lot of like big, deep philosophical questions in this. There's the philosophical question that is being approached. The primary philosophical question is, should we kill our enemies? And this idea of loving your enemies, right? And that is presented in the beginning of the story as both sides of this conflict are killing each other. And they each have their reasonings and justifications for it. Oh, hold on. Silva messaged me on Facebook. Silva will be here soon. Finishing up watching a YouTube video. But like, so that's the crux of, that's the big philosophical concept that kind of gets thrown around. It's extremely Oh gosh, that's a hilarious video. Silva's watching a video about the dumbest lines from every Fast and Furious film through to Fast 8, excluding 9 and Hobbs and Shaw because the person who made the video hadn't seen them yet. I need to see Fast X. I'm probably gonna see it whenever it comes onto streaming services. I've seen some people describe the Fast and the Furious series as a great analog for like a modern day D&D campaign, because the characters start as regular, relatively mundane individuals that are slightly better than normal people at whatever it is they're doing. And then by the end of the campaign, they're taking on these insane missions, fighting these supernatural forces, doing all of this stuff that is beyond comprehension. The abilities of like a level 17 D&D character as opposed to a level 1 D&D character, as opposed to a commoner who has no class at all, are just mind-boggling. They're completely mind-boggling. And like, so I've seen this thing. I realize I'm getting sidetracked here because I was talking about my story, right? But now I'm talking a little bit about D&D, and that's okay because this is the free talk time at the beginning of at the stream. So like in 5th edition, there is this wide gap that develops as the characters go up in level between the magic users, the casters, and the marshals, right? And I saw a post a while back where someone's talking about, as a barbarian, when they rage at this level, they can do like 60 damage a turn, right? To one target. Maybe 2 if they have the one, not cleave, but like the one feat that lets them hit something if they crit. And they're like, what high level spell is gonna do that much damage? And I'm like, my sibling in Cristo, there is far more to D&D than dealing damage. And a high level mage, even if they don't have a spell that can do 60 damage to a single target, they can literally reshape the fabric of reality and create amazing and astounding effects to incapacitate or defeat large groups of people, to solve a variety of puzzles and challenges, and to overwhelm any opponents. Like, just even if you just look at cantrips, not even what they can do with spell slots, the way that cantrips scale up is just brutal. I did see someone suggest that extra attack for marshals should scale up like cantrips do for casters. But then the question then becomes, because like the extra attack scaling up past the second attack is like fighter's thing. That's the thing that the fighter does, besides having really high stats. Like the fighter in our campaign is Silva's character, and she has all these feats because she's like, the fighters get a lot of ability score improvements, and in a game where you allow feats, that's just a lot of feats to really customize the build in whatever way you want, which that creates a lot of opportunity for creating very unique and specialized characters. I've seen some people suggest that like Battle Master maneuvers should be like things that should be regular combat options, at least for the fighter, no matter what archetype. And I'm like, yeah, I would like some of them to be things that you can do, like the tripping attack, the goading attack, and if I could see some kind of a thing where the fighter could do that, have those battle maneuvers, but then the battle master gets the superiority die where they do extra damage, and gets more of them, or more uses of them would be something I would see. I would like. But that's not to say that the other classes don't have ways to solve puzzles, to overwhelm challenges, or to deal with threats. Like, they're just like, depending on what type of like even the barbarian example, depending on what type of barbarian you choose, you can get a variety of tools and abilities that can serve you through a variety of challenges. Like I made a barbarian subclass, and like one of the things they suggested is the barbarian subclass level 10 feature should be a non-combat feature, some kind of feature that is effective outside of combat, in order to like flesh out and round out the subclass, so that way it's like some kind of a thing that's not just dealing damage, and it keeps them from being, the description said overpowered in the mid game, but I'm like, there's so much more, like there's so much more than dealing damage. But anyway, so about my story that I was talking about in Deus Ex Machina, the primary moral situation that the characters are faced with and are being challenged by is, do you kill your enemy? And this is like expanded upon between, like, do you try to find a way to defeat and diffuse a situation without killing your enemy, or do you reach for that solution, for that finality? And that's something I wanted to express in today's stream, where we're going to be, so in the story, right, the point of the chapter that I'm currently writing is going to be Greg, the person who was the divine beast. I still don't have a good name for it. When I talked to my friend, I talked to Okusen about it, Okusen refers to them as the pilot of the beast, which I guess works, but like, they, like, as far as they understood, their bodies were consumed to become the beast, to be at the beast's core. But they were the beast, So I don't know, maybe pilot's the right word, I'm not sure. I'm definitely not sure of what the right word is. But so in the story, in the chapter I'm at right now, Greg is trying to fit in the rebellion, and I wanted to see some of the growing pains there. Whereas Greg is used to life on the Sky Cities or in state church society, and I wanted to have Greg, like, reacting to certain things, some culture shock, some things, and then have the main character having to show Greg how they do things differently versus what's the same, to reflect that the rebellion is trying to be different, but like they say, be careful, those who fight monsters, lest you become the monsters yourselves, or something like that, some kind of a thing like that, where there would be some things that are scarily similar between the rebellion and the state church, and that was an idea I wanted to explore, where the everything would, like, line up, and I've been writing lore for like the last like 2 days because I want it to like line up in such a way that like I know what I'm referring to, so there's some kind of congruity, consistency. And so in order to maintain that consistency, whenever I come up with these designs, these ideas, I try to dial back, reach back into the manuscript and add some text here or there that like references or sets up these things because I want them to have been set up before, so that way whenever the reader reads them, they're like, oh yeah, this is a payoff for that thing that got mentioned before. I can't do that with everything, and I also understand that like uh some of the things in this, like a lot of the stuff in this lore isn't going to be getting dealt with. Like I was talking to Okusen about a lot of stuff, and like I really maybe I need to really watch Andor, because like people have talked about it being a great example of like resistance, and Okusen was telling me that like Andor was a good example of like the things the rebellion has to do to even organize, right? Trying to even organize or come together under that kind of a tyrannical rule. But that's not exactly what I'm going for here. That's not the world setup I'm going for. I'm not going for a like hiding in plain sight kind of thing, at least for this story. At least not yet. I don't know, maybe I'll move into that in the future. But the formula I'm trying to explore is that the story takes place with a group of rebels that are living in the wilderness, in the wastelands, in well, it's not exactly wasteland, it's a forest in the first part. Um and living in territory that it's not controlled by the state church, where like they're like the only thing that patrols this area are the divine beasts going on wide patrols of the area in order to act as peacekeepers, to keep uh to lure out and to take care of any dissenters hiding in across the globe, because the earth is a big place, right? The earth is a really big place with a varied environment and community. Hey Nabiru, good to see you. How was your weekend? Do you do more RP stuff? Your weekend was all right. That's good. You're currently binging anime. What anime are you binging now? More furries, some zombie land, some slime, mostly people reacting. What do you mean people reacting? Are you watching videos of people reacting to anime? Watching anime reactors. Oh my gosh. It's funny. I used to do that for Ruby. I used to do that for Ruby way back when I followed Ruby. I'm like 2 seasons behind on Ruby, I think. Which like maybe I'll go up and catch up. Like I've seen some clips of it, and it looks like it's gotten really good, or it's gotten really the clips I've seen of it look really good. Um, I saw what I've seen of Ruby was there was a clip where Yang and the cat girl, I can't remember the cat girl's name, finally confessed their feelings for each other. That was the clip I saw of it recently, and then there was some kind of a fight where where Ruby like finally comes into her own and accepts her, chooses to be herself, because I guess she could choose to become anybody at some point. I don't know. I just saw weird clips, and it just seemed really emotional and interesting, and the fight scenes seemed really cool. Uh it looked like they were in some kind of a new world. I saw some clips where it was talking about apparently like they went to some new world and Jean got there first and has been like living life and aging and growing up while he waited for the rest of them, and for them it's only been a few minutes, but for him it's been like years or something. I don't know. Like that is what I inferred from the clips I saw. And it's interesting because Jean was always one of my favorite characters, because like he was someone I could project myself on to, with having those confidence issues, always feeling like I wasn't good enough, feeling completely outclassed by everyone around me, and also being the only dude in the show. Well, not the only dude, but the least competent dude. And like everybody else has these like amazing weapons, and he's like, I got this shield from, I think he said he got a shield from his grandfather, and it opens up from the sheath of his sword. Um, and like his journey of learning how to use his powers, he was very much I think he made a great audience insert character as he was slowly learning about his powers. But like they had some hard retcons in early Ruby as they tried to introduce and develop the magic system. The fights now look completely different from how the fights used to look, with all of the different technical details. Do you follow? Ruby has had its ups and downs lately. Uh, do you follow Ruby, Nabiru? Okusin sent me something. I stopped watching full seasons around season 6 or 7. Yeah, I think the last one I saw was season 7. So I'm like, I think they're on season 9 now. So I'm like 2 seasons behind. You're just grinding in 14. When are you not grinding in 14 for something, Silva? What is that? When you're sleeping, I don't believe that, Silva. I am not convinced that you haven't set up some kind that you don't have access to some kind of a way to grind to get the game to grind while you're sleeping. Don't they have like bots for that, like grind when you're AFK or something? Or would that be sacrilege for you? It would get you banned. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, Nabiru. I didn't know Silva slept. I've heard references to it, but I've never seen this phenomenon in person. I'm still not convinced that Silva sleeps. That's a very powerful qualifier, Nabiru. You're not Yabai right now. That's a. I mean, I think Nabiru is being pretty say so right now. Nabiru is just talking about anime. Speaking of anime, I saw like some figures and some, I don't know if they're model kits or whatever, got released for some new mecha manhwa, and I'm like, yo, where can I find that? These things look so cool. They're like big and bulky and like just look really cool. Okay. Okay. Doo-doo-doo-doo, just checking to see if there's anything cool. Ugh. Goodness gravy. I went grocery shopping today and got stuff to make chili. I'm going to be making chili tomorrow, but it is going to be the absolute bastardization of chili. It is going to be a horrific insult to anything that has ever been called chili, and I love it. Because I'm making it not just for me, but for the other people in my house. And in the house here, we have one person who is deathly allergic to onions. Right? So no onions. I have another person in the house that is possibly allergic, possibly just doesn't like tomatoes, but they can eat tomato sauce. But like the actual tomatoes, like the skin of the tomato and like the flesh of the tomato itself, they can't eat. And I'm making it vegan because it's me. So I'm gonna be using, for the base of it, it's gonna be beans. It's gonna be beans, seasonings, some frozen mixed vegetables to add some fiber to it, and a couple cans of Hunt's traditional pasta sauce, because that doesn't have any onions in it. So yeah, I'm using pasta sauce as the basis for the chili. It is going to be a direct insult to anything that has ever been called chili, and I love it. It's going to be hilarious. I also finally picked up some poultry seasoning. I think I'm planning to make some seitan, and all of the things that I want to do always say add poultry seasoning, and then I never have it, right? So I'm like, you know what? I was at the store, I saw the poultry seasoning. It was only a couple of dollars. So I was like, let me just get the poultry seasoning. You know what I mean? I also got a bunch of other seasonings, like I got some garlic powder, cumin, and oregano. So it's funny. Like, I was looking at garlic powder and I found this big container that was like $7 or $8, right? And I'm like, what? Then I looked over, and like directly behind me in Walmart was this other larger container that was like a Spanish brand garlic powder that was larger, and it only cost like $4 or $5. And I'm like, okay, of course I'm going to pay less to get more. Like, yeah, it's a larger container, so I gotta find space for a larger container, but like still, now I can finally start using garlic powder on things, because I do miss having garlic in my food. I have plenty of garlic powder now. All right. Also, I just saw a post. Apparently, Mr. Beast is uh, recruiting for another big video, looking primarily for people that live in North Carolina, America. So if you know anybody, let them know Mr. Beast is looking for people. I know someone in North Carolina, so I will actually copy this to give to somebody real quick. Boop. Actually, instead of doing that, I'll just get a link to the actual tweet. Copy a link to tweet. That makes more sense. There. Wait a second. Is this real? Hold on. Oh, okay. It is real. Okay. because I followed the link and it led me to a post. Okay, he retweeted it, so it is real. It led me to a channel like Mr. Beast Casting that like looks super sketch because it only has like one post, but the tweet was shared by Mr. Beast, so it should probably be real. I wanted to share it before I forgot. All right, I said I was going to get better at like being late, so let's actually get to the meat and potatoes of the stream today. So let me show you. Uh, okay, here we go. Cool. Boop, doop. Here we go. Cool. So, we're looking at the notepad thing. This is what I have so far with fleshing out the bad guys. I want to expand upon this and figure out how I can apply this to my story. So this is like I haven't really, so because of how I want the story to take place, right? I want the story to be following the main character who is existing in this rebel base and like is fending off attacks from uh the divine beasts, and then like after, I'm imagining that like after the rebels start uh making waves and releasing uh whatchamacallit, what's the word I'm looking for, releasing testimonies of the recovered beasts about what it really is like, and that starts looking bad, that the state church will start sending more people, will start sending more divine beasts after them, so the battles will rage, and then as more people get rescued from being a divine beast, it's going to cause a whole lot of development there. I didn't think. Okay. So, yeah, that's about the development. Um, but I also, by having a unified explanation of what the world is like outside of this little bubble that is the rebel base, right? Um, I can get some idea to have some continuity between how all of the some kind of continuity between how all of the people who were all the new converts, the I guess I'll call them pilots because I don't have a better word for it. All the pilots of the divine beasts are acting whenever they get when they get turned back into humans. So having some continuity could be really important and just give more of a unified feel. So this is, and I will fully and utterly, I will be the first to admit that my design for the state church is very much reactionary and based on some of the things that I have seen between growing up in the church and also existing as an adult in America that is sliding into a theocratic role. So this is, it is going to be an exaggerated reflection of those concepts that I see happening around me. And I think that is how Revelation should be read, as a exaggerated, a more poetic representation or idea of the natural conclusion of the situation as it's happening around you, as it was happening around the writer. So we start with the basics. State church is an order based on shame and punishment, swift and brutal punishment for even the smallest offenses. So I'm picturing a society um, where everyone has a gun, and people are shot people shoot each other or get shot by police or law enforcement of some kind on a regular basis. And there's just all kinds of death and destruction, but the people are kind of duped into believing that they are free, that they are following the right path, and anyone who tries to rebel or acts out is exiled. And that's one of the things I wanted to think about here as I was trying to go into the classes, because like so many stories, I'm trying to like so many dystopias, I want to introduce some kind of a caste system or class system, call it whatever you will, if for no other reason than having that system gives a basic framework that makes it easy for writing about. It makes it very easy to come up with a very simple list of traits that people in each class would have, and then when you introduce a character from there, you just assign them which class they come from, and then you have a preset thing of traits that you can work with to describe that character, or a starting point, a jumping off point to build that character. As you look at their like cultural identity formed by their economic class or whatever class they're in. So like it is, I think that's a big part of why so many dystopias feature class and case systems, even though like we don't really have defined class systems here in the US at least. There are definitely the poor, and then there's the middle class, and then there's the upper class, but there's not like those are like informal monikers that we give. That's not a thing that's like endorsed by the government. That's not a thing that like comes with any benefits outside of the benefits of being in that economic class, right? Like being in the elite, the wealthy class in America doesn't grant you anything that you don't get for being rich. There's no additional benefits there. But those benefits themselves are still really powerful, and people dream of getting them on their own one day. And that's one of the things. So that's one of the things I'm struggling with right now, is trying to come up with good names and descriptors for these classes. And I had an idea that I was trying to expound upon that I think I want to rework a little bit. And the idea is splitting the society into 3 classes, and the classes, I'm thinking of having them be representative of where you live. And having them be broad, and I may have other subdivisions of each class that can be more specific once you get into those specific regions. So right now the names I have are still very, very tentative of heaven, purgatory, and hell. For those of you unfamiliar, purgatory is the concept of a place in the afterlife for people who aren't bad enough to go to hell, but aren't good enough to get to heaven. It's a place of purification where through enough time and prayer and growth, you can eventually become worthy of heaven. There's a lot of specifics and things involved with that, and the doctrine of purgatory, as I understand it, is based on like a single scripture in which like one of the apostles said, "Pray for the souls of these people who just died, that their souls don't get stuck in the place of uh, in the place of purification and can move on swiftly to that into heaven." Uh, and I would not be surprised if that was taken out of context and exaggerated to become that idea, but that is literally what the villains do in this: is they take ideas and they exaggerate them, and then by taking those exaggerated ideas, they turn that into doctrine that fits their needs. So within this system, heaven are the people in the sky cities, purgatory are the people that live in the state church controlled sections of the surface, and hell is anyone outside of state church controlled territory. And that brings this idea that I may want to reference, that like the main character essentially is living in hell, is living in the area outside the area that I don't know if hell is the right word for it, because it's a little bit silly to have such very blunt names, right? But I don't know, it's still in the works, still toying with it. But that is what I'm working with right now. Okay. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. I saw a notification on Facebook and I looked at it, then I got distracted by Facebook. Social media does that to you. Seeing everybody being happy and successful is hard sometimes. Oh, my cousin is selling pies to pay to send her kid to summer camp. And when she put the thing of like the list of names, it turned the like where she was doing like number and parentheses in order to say all the blank names of like, I need 10 people to sell 10 pies to pay for this thing, right? It turned the A end parentheses into the sunglasses emoji. That's funny. Okay. Saw a comic strip of Dennis the Menace walking out of church telling the preacher, you should give a cliffhanger preview of next week's sermon to keep people in suspense. That would be interesting. Okay. Anyway, I got distracted. Boop. Gotta focus. So I've been reading a lot. Not reading. I've been watching a lot of these little shorts. Not a lot, but multiple of these shorts from the Lofi Girl YouTube channel. And some of them are really funny and create this entire lore for the Lofi Girl. Like, she just released one that's like, when people keep telling you to push the cat, and it's this thing where she's like, "There's the door," then moves the cat's arm, and somebody else yells, "There's the door," but it's like it's audio from like a different show or something, and they're putting audio from a show over like the animation of the Lo-Fi Girl, and people were in the comments saying this is all just a cover up for the fact that she did push her cat out a window in one of the things. I'm like, what? I looked it up, and yeah, there was a short where like the joke was she accidentally pushed her cat out the window, and but the scene showed that directly underneath the window is the roof of another another section of the house that she's in, so the cat would just like roll like maybe a foot or something, if even, onto a roof, but the cat was just very unhappy, and it was so adorable. But it was like for that second when like it just zooms in on Lo-Fi Girl's face looking horrified as she's looking out the window, and you expect it to turn around and see the cat as a splat. But no, the cat was just sitting on the roof underneath the window, just being very unhappy. Okay. So thinking, what are there set according 3 levels of heaven. The degrees of glory. I'm looking at the okay, so there are 3 degrees of heaven. Here we go. Immortal existence, veil of forgiven, blah 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 blah. What in the world? This is all. Oh, this is from. This is the Mormon plan of salvation, which including Mormon. Like, I want to include references to all like multiple different branches of Christianity to reflect that like this isn't just one branch in particular that I'm singling out. But it's going to be some reference to all of the things that I like in my experience, because I grew up Catholic, right? No, I don't think this is exactly what I'm looking for. What are these 7 heavens? That's in Hindu. Oh, hmm. Interesting. Like, it would make more sense to have like multiple more nuanced classes that intermingled in different rates and areas. But like, just like whenever you have like a D&D town, you have like the noble area and the poor area, and like the concept of like gentrification doesn't, at least not in the stories I've ever played in or experienced or run, doesn't really come into play. Uh, all right. All right, third level of heaven is referenced in the Abrahamic religions, and it's considered to be where God is. Okay. Okay. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Ba ba. Religious cosmology. All the weird things you find out whenever you're doing, and like it's really funny, like if I ever get like interrogated like or put on a list for some of the things that I research, it's like, listen, I'm writing a story about uh like theology and warfare. What kind of story is it? It's Jesus piloting a super robot. All right. Okay. Ba ba ba. Three level underworld below, heaven above, and the earth in the middle. Yeah. Ugh. This isn't giving me what I was looking for. I was hoping, because I know that there's the different rings of hell, right? There's in Dante's Inferno, there's the different rings of hell as it spirals down, which is funny because like Dante's Inferno is kind of like, it's religious fan fiction, right? unless you're Catholic. And then like a large part of the Catholic Church has accepted Dante's Inferno as being almost divinely inspired and refer to it. And that's funny. All right. Let's get to writing. All right, let's actually get some writing done instead of just highlighting and talking. Also, one of the other ideas, some of the ideas that I wanted to see expressed in this description of the state church is the ideas of worshiping leaders, worshiping political leaders as prophets, where the political leaders are also religious leaders that are seen as visionaries and arbiters of not just laws, but of truth, and to create situations where instead of the laws representing the will of the people, the will of the people is forced to bend to the laws. And the laws are written in such a way to guarantee certain people stay in power, right? So there's the worshiping of leaders, worshiping of gun ownership, where like that becomes not just recommended but mandatory for all adults is gun ownership. And like instead of going to the golfing range, people go to like the shooting range, right? Instead of like, so that is so that's another one of the tenets that I wanted to explore with it. And also child labor, where schooling and education has been gutted. What education there is very controlled or twisted, and everyone is expected to start working to enter the workforce at an extremely young age, but the work that you do is very dependent on which class that you're in, where you're living. Whereas like the kids on the sky cities in the heaven areas will be having like office jobs, very simple administrative duties, things where like they are maybe not administrative, or like working as administrative assistants, where they are being mentored and taught how to take over a large business with the intention that as they grow up, they're going to have upward mobility, right? And in the lower classes, in the purgatory class, people are getting these jobs when they're young, and they're like manual labor jobs. They're service industry jobs. They're all these jobs where they have this hope and dream that if they keep working, they'll move up the ladder, but there's very little actual upwards mobility. And that's one of the ideas I wanted to express here. Those three things I wanted to really define. Let me write that down, because I haven't. It's weird. Like I think as I talk sometimes, so sometimes sounding things out and saying things out loud helps me work out a lot of ideas. Okay. Okay. So one of the consequences here is they're going to be, well, I don't know, like people will be able to read, but the only thing that they're going to be reading is going to be the Bible or uh religious treaties. It's going to be everything that religious missionaries dreamed of during the big age of colonization and missionaries, um, where you teach people to read by getting them to read the Bible, um, and then that becomes their only book, and that's all they need. They're all in all. Um, so I would say in that kind of a situation, it's everything's focused on doing, like, it would be not quite an art the society, because um churches would still want their ostentatious great um uh artwork, so everything would be like religious murals, um or uh artwork for religious places, um and that would just dominate uh media. Their memes are all just religious memes. Okay. So these are the three concepts that I want to base the state church around, right? Um worship of leaders, worshiping gun ownership, and worshiping child labor. And the child labor one is actually a pretty recent addition to this, just because I've seen that come up in recent times with them repealing some of the child labor laws. And as that's happened, I've learned more about um, what this means for the education system, what this means for society. And I'm like, you know what? That's definitely something I want to add to the story. And that's definitely one of the things here that, like, this story, um, I think your story should evolve as you go, based on your own experiences. Each writer needs to put their own personal experiences and world events and things that they understand into their story. So, what I'm thinking, let's retweak the actual classes, and say that split into 3 areas, and people are defined by where they live. Okay. Okay. So the areas are called so I took the religious iconography and I shifted that to be a nickname, an unofficial moniker. And then I put the definition to be more legalistic and a bit more mundane in order to have the veneer of officiality. That was kind of what I was going with that. Okay. So the idea is the people in the Sky Cities are people who have to pay a large sum of money every year or in some way work to serve the state church in some way. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. So this is where you either have to pay a large sum of money or either work yourself or have a direct family member that works in some way to serve the state church to enter this class. Okay. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. So people, but okay. So this idea that like there's assigned housing, um, so this is kind of like this idealistic place to live, right? Like, um, you've got socialized healthcare, universal basic income, and guaranteed housing, right? Um, and this is supposedly all funded by the huge amount that they contribute, that each family is expected to contribute in order to live there, right? Um, which is that feeds more also into this myth of well, not myth, but this idea of taxes as the fee you pay to exist in a society, what you pay to help with the upkeep. Um, but just like with what happens with taxes, in this situation, a lot of the rich and powerful will find ways and loopholes and weird excuses to either drastically reduce what they're paying or to get out entirely of paying that fee, which means uh, that so much of the funding just doesn't happen. And um, ooh, that gives me an idea. Hmm. What did you fail at, Silva? I mean, I thought you were grinding. How do you fail at grinding? Did you Zen loss? I didn't even know that was is that even a thing in 14? For those of you who don't know, Zen loss is a thing that I believe Japanese YouTubers came up with the term. By not getting enough of the tomes to turn in for the music roll you wanted at in time. Oh, it was a limited time event. Oh, that's frustrating. I'm sorry, Silva. That's heartbreaking. Okay. It's frustrating because the music roll drops in high level dungeon normally. Oh. So you had a chance to get a limited, like an item that normally is really hard to get. And you had a chance to get it for some kind of event or something? hard to get as it's annoying to get, might take multiple dungeon runs to obtain it. Okay. Okay, so what we have here, sky cities, where the rich and powerful live, the elite, or people who are themselves or have a direct family member that is working to serve the state church. So then what this creates is a situation where all of the public servants and their families are living in a place that is far removed from the areas where they're actually policing or they're governing, which is where most of society lives in the land cities, right? But all of the people who are governing the land cities live in the sky cities. So they are very detached from the problems. Um, okay. All right. I like this better. This fits a lot better. I like the way it sounds, and I think it'll work better for world building. Okay. Okay. Um. I think this also feels a bit more realistic and a little bit less fantasy. If instead of having like defined classes, it's like you're defined by where you live, because that's a lot of um I think that's a lot of what we do today with our society is people define themselves by where they live, um or where their heritage is from. I mean, I said it in my post about this. This is this story is me taking a really silly idea and taking it way too seriously. Because that's kind of my thing. I take silly ideas and I take them way too seriously. Um, and that's one of the things I struggled with this story was um, I started taking it even too seriously for me. And I was trying to tackle too many concepts and ideas and moral problems at once. Um, and I realized that the main moral quandary that I need to tackle with this, right, that is the kind of crux here for this story um is killing your enemies. Um, this idea that like if uh right now the resistance is built on fighting back and killing people in like not just destroying the sacred beast, not the sacred beast. Thinking Yu-Gi-Oh for a second. Have to base some of them on Yu-Gi-Oh monsters though. That'll be interesting. Um, um, and then Jesus introduces them to this concept of what if you found a way to save the people, to forgive and to love your enemy, and to seek a solution that doesn't involve killing your enemy. And it can be that simple. It doesn't have to be super complex, because that is in and of itself complex enough. But yes, Nabiru, I am shooting for realism in a really silly way. I want to say some businesses do operate out here in the wilderness, right? Um, but nothing huge. And I don't know if I want to make it illegal or if it's just not profitable because like the people in the city should have no reason to go to the wilderness. One other thing is going to be that people don't travel. Um, like people don't travel between cities, don't travel between regions. Your region is where you stay and where you are. Um, okay. Right. All right. I think it'd be ooh, that could be interesting. All right, follow me on this chat. Um, so in this kind of hyper religious society where education isn't really a thing, right? And people are just getting trained in their crafts. You have artisans, but like, what if like uh big time science, I don't know if big time is the right word for it, but like real theoretical science, like quantum physics and stuff, um, and new energy sources and all of that just aren't researched because it all science, the only purpose science serves in a society like this, only purpose anything serves is just to generate money. So like art only exists to generate money in this society. Um, so theoretical physics and all of those advanced sciences and also new energy sources can destabilize monopolies and um, serve as uh, and just serve as a situation where the people who've invested so much into fossil fuels into whatever the energy source is will suddenly lose money if a new energy source is discovered, so that way they discourage energy research. But my idea is that if um, the uh, the the actual like advanced science cyberpunky kind of stuff um is happening in the wilderness, which I think is an interesting contrast, right? Where like that's the place where like if people want to do actual like research for research's sake, they go out, they start a farm, and in their spare time on the farm, they research advanced technologies. They have limited resources, but they actually have time to do things. And so if you saw like actual like automation and mechanical things in the wilderness, I think that'd be interesting. I think it'd be a different contrast. Ugh. Got a big booger out my nose. Ugh. Felt something weird in my nose and I had to dig it out. Ah. I think it's funny because like the um the state church doesn't have the tech to make mechs, but they do have the tech to make the divine beasts. But that's like a well guarded, well kept secret that I think I'll explore later on in the story. My theory is it's some kind of a thing where like um I don't know. I'm thinking actually this could be something I put in this document, right? Um, okay, limited automation. Blah, 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 blah. That's where we're at with that. Got limited automation. Then, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Not going to define all the specifics, just going to say that the reality is that God sent a messenger to them that they captured and experimented on. And that's how they got the divine beast. Okay. All right. I think we got a lot covered here for this. We've got the three ideals of the state church kind of defined. Got the classes defined. Of the people who live in the sky cities, land cities, and wilderness. SCP. I like acronyms because it makes it easier to write. They're referred to as exiles or outcasts. So either way, for the other two classes, they're still citizens of something, right? But then for the wilderness, you are an exile or an outcast. I'm not sure if I want to have a whole lot of tech available out here. Like they've got the tech, well, I mean, they've got the tech for mechs. All right, so with that all in mind, for like the next half hour or so, I want to actually get down to writing. And now that I have some better definitions, right? This character Greg is a person who was an LCC, a land city citizen, and became a divine beast in order to get his family the right to live in the Sky City, to turn them into SEC, Sky City citizens. And everything up here in the Sky Cities is automated, right? Yeah, so I'll make that be the big science area. Like in the Sky Cities, there is no like whenever you go to order food or whatever at a restaurant, all the food is being cooked by uh if not a like possibly a celebrity chef that is running a team of robots that are handling all of the sous chef work. Maybe they have an apprentice or two that they're training to be the next celebrity chef. Okay. Okay, I like that. I like how that fits. Um, yeah, it fits pretty well. So with this in mind, let's actually get to putting words in my manuscript. I have very little done in chapter 5, and let me check my notes. Chapter 5 is where we have the culture shock, and John starts taking action as a leader. Oh, okay. Okay. How many words do I have in this chapter so far? Normally I want between 1,500 and 2,000 words. Alright, I have almost 700 words in the chapter so far. That's fine. Do I want to add anything to the back to reference any of this? Okay. Um. All right. So I did do one thing. I think I'm trying to remember if I did it on stream or if I did it since then. Where I went back and I think I did it on stream. I went back and rewrote the interaction uh, that he had right before the fight started. Uh, except I wrote it where now we introduce Thomas uh, in order to make the whole thing with Thomas's widow have more weight to it. That was one of the things I did. It's kind of a retcon, but like I just went back and changed it. I think I did that on stream. Oh, today is Monday. Friday. Yeah. Keep feeling like today is Friday. Probably because I did so much stuff. Okay. So now we're introducing these two characters, Letty and Homer. Not gonna lie, I just made those names up. They don't mean anything. I was thinking Homer is in Homer Simpson, and I don't know where I heard Letty from. That might be a character from some anime I watched. Definitely not a main character. It sounds like a side character name. Okay. Okay. So here is where we start to see this friction build, where um, Greg is expecting the main character, John, to be the one in the leadership position, to be the one doling out the directions, to be the one giving the explanations and the direction and the to giving the orders. And all Greg has watched has been watching Greg take orders. And well, he didn't. He was like he watched Greg take orders and follow other people's directions. And here, when he's asking what's going to happen next, uh, what what his uh, his path forward is, he's getting Letty to explain it, but and then uh, but yeah, that um this idea that starts to form of a leader not as a person to be worshipped and lauded, but a leader as a person to organize and empower other people to do what they're good at. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of this entire chunk of writing I just did. Or I'll move this to a different thing. Okay, so here I split this up. Instead of having the entire conversation happening in that first night, I moved the conversation to the next morning because I want to keep the plot moving forward. I don't want everything to get bogged down in that one day. I want the time to move forward in the plot. Okay. Giving that line to Homer, because I don't think I've had Homer say something. I had Letty introduce himself. I gave Homer that previous line. I'll give Letty this line. Letty's a character from Fast and the Furious. That's where I'm getting that, except this Letty's a dude and that Letty's a woman. I'll give that one to John. I'll give that line to John. As he's expressing that you can't make people accept you. You can't, that's not a decision you get to make. Each person has to make that decision for themselves. Mm. So this is where the main character is expressing that he doesn't know. He doesn't have a solid answer. He doesn't know what to do or what's required. Um, and that's what you see a lot in a lot of leaders is that they end up in a situation that they're not fully prepared for, that they didn't realize how intense the situation was going to be whenever they agreed to it. That's a very common like thing to happen to leaders is that they agree to something before they fully realize what's going to be required, and they end up in these very difficult and uh, frustrating situations, right? Um, and that's a thing where I've felt that kind of before in my own life, where I've been I've let myself be thrust into situations that I just didn't feel qualified for. Funny, I do everything like electronically, and my roommate gave me this notebook for writing down deck lists, for writing down Yu-Gi-Oh deck lists instead of like uh uh instead of always using like instead of just making the decks. And I never really thought about it. Like I'm so used to editing decks as I go and like letting the deck be a kind of living thing that changes and modifies as I get new cards, as I test new things, as things feel good. The concept of having a rote deck list that is like a specific formula just feels foreign to me. Also, I don't think I even own a pen. Sidetracked. Sidetracked. What's that called? What's that thing called where you have uh that lifts up cars so you can get underneath them? It's a jack? And then there's the engine thing, the thing you use for lifting an engine. The crane? What's it called? Engine hoist. Okay. Okay, so it's an engine hoist. Jack and stands. Two post lift. Okay. All right. Our car lift. That's what it's called. So I'll say it's in a mech lift. That should work. Scissor lift is a car lift. Yeah, I know, right? The name is just it feels like it should have some kind of a more technical name, right? Portable car lift, two-post car lift, overhead car lift, four-post car lift, in-ground car lift, car lift for parallelogram, parking lifts. Yeah, they're just called lifts. Okay. Okay. Our elevator. Yeah, that's not quite what I'm looking for. Okay. Okay. And reality surprise you with the simplistic names of things instead of a complex multi-word. Right, Nabiru? I'm just coming up with names as I go. Spelling Connor with 2 O's because I can. I realize it's been mostly men, and I do need to introduce women. I swear I'm able. I swear I can write women. Ooh, I have an idea how I can introduce a woman. Yeah. What's that supposed to mean, Nabiru? Are you saying mecha shows don't feature women at all? Or only have like 1 or 2, usually idols, race queens, or background love interests? Uh, yeah, that's true. All right, Silva. Good night. Thanks for coming. It was great having you. I'm sorry you didn't get your music scroll thing that you were trying to get on 14. Hopefully you get it to drop from some other high-level dungeons later. I just had a goofy idea. This is really silly, and this is going to be one of those instances where I don't take myself too seriously. I'm going to I'm going to do something kind of goofy that I think you'll be proud of me for, Nabiru. I realized the name I came up with is Connor for the one mechanic, and that made me think of Connor and Iron Mouse. So I was like, okay, I want to introduce a woman who's part of the main plot, right? That's not just like eye candy. Wait, let me explain first, Nabiru, before you face palm. You're the one who's always telling me to be silly. So I'm thinking I'm going to introduce a female mechanic that is willing to work with Greg. And her name is going to be Iron. Maybe not Iron, maybe Steel. Yeah, I call her Tungsten for Tungsten Rat. Lucy? Who's Lucy? Oh, Lucifer. Maybe. wasn't thinking that angle. I was just thinking Iron Mouse and Connor. I wasn't thinking about that angle. That's actually really funny. I'm thinking Lucy Iron. What did I say the name of this mech was? Asclepius. 7 years old. Okay. I named her Lucy Iron, Nabiru. Yes, only in fiction can you get away with that. This story takes place in 197, right? Yeah. Story takes place in 197. Yeah, 197 Alpha. Okay. No, I think that's a little bit too unbelievable. All right, I think we're getting to the end of the chapter. The main characters had some chances. This is where its action has started to move forward. I don't know, might make this a longer chapter because main character did some things there. Sorry to see how some things come together. We see some development. Okay. How many words does that bring me to? Chapter, because I don't want it to drag on too long. We had 3 scenes. We had the scene at the changing room. Had the scene in the mess hall, and now we've had this scene in the hangar. I could fit. It's like just about 1,800 words. So I can fit another couple hundred words for an outro here. Okay, he had to do. Mm, okay. This is kind of like a little bit of comedy where they're teasing him, like, "Hey, when are you gonna give a sermon? Like, you agreed to be the prophet." And the main character is really nervous about it. Not that he has a fear of public speaking, but he's never really had to do it, so he's never really developed the fear of it. Um, so that's where this is coming in right now. Okay. All right. Well, we're just exactly on 11:30. I think that brings me to just over 2,000 words for this chapter. This chapter was hard, and it's funny, I did all of that world building, and I used less than nothing from all of that world building I did for the first part of the stream. And that's funny. Like I'll probably make more references in the next chapter whenever he gives his 2037, great. Whenever he gives his testimony in the next chapter, I'll probably make more references to the world. So I'm glad I have that lined up and nailed down. I might do more of that tonight. I might do some of that tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I've got my meeting with Social Security tomorrow about my cash assistance. I filled all my forms out properly, so hopefully everything goes smoothly. Okay. Let me see how many words we wrote tonight in the actual manuscript. My guess is about 800. Oh, 1300. Okay, 1343. That's a pretty successful night. All right. So what have you got planned for this week, Nabiru? More anime, more bullfurry? Oh goodness, what Pippa do now? Bullfurry ended. Oh, did it actually end, or is it just this season ended and there's still more of the story to go? Like, did they reach the end of the story of Bullfurry? Oh, the season ended. Okay, there's still plenty to go. Okay. I made a Twitter post where I said I've been listening to Sabaton songs when I write, imagining the songs are about mechs, and I was asking if anybody else did that, but me, because like I got this one video someone put together a collection of Sabaton songs that are about tanks, planes, and ships, and I listened to those jamming out to them as if they're about mechs. Like the number of times I've been like, na 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 na, Wanzer Battalion, because Wanzers are the mechs from Front Mission. Somebody responded, said Armored Core 6. I'm like, yeah. Hopefully I have my new computer by then so I can stream it. I can stream Armored Core 6. So what other stuff are you watching? Are you watching reactions to Bullfurry, you said? Everyone I'm subbed to has already finished their reaction to it. Who has watched it? Okay. Oh, you're looking into other stuff. I see. Overlord's also fun to watch people react to, so is Slime. Okay. Weren't there like two? How many Slime animes were there? Or was there just the one Reborn Slime in Another World? Because like I could have swore there was one where like he was like leading some kind of like village doing like simulation builder, but then I saw some other scenes that involved like some students at a school or something. Or is that all the same anime? Is reincarnated as a slime, aka Tensura Slime 300. Okay. Remember, main character of Tensura is building his own country. He also did teach a school for. Okay, so it was the same anime. Okay. Different anime entirely, but its name does use slime. Oh, okay. Is it about a slime? Slime 300 full name. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level as an isekai of a girl who became immortal and maxed out from sliming level 1 slimes for 300 years. So it's not about a slime. It's about a girl who killed slimes. Ah. Gosh. One second. What is this meme? Someone posted a meme that's a scene from uh G-Witch, but it like they have different subtitles on it. It okay. Is this a thing for? It said it's a reference to Kamen Rider X-Aid. Why don't they just? I don't get that. I don't get that meme. Someone said it was their Dookie post, and I'm like, I don't get it. Two slimes join her group later, but correct. Then there is a horrible anime involving slimes. What's the horrible anime? My isekai life, bad anime adaptation, but decent manga involving a guy who controls slimes with OP powers. Okay. Alright. It's strange. There's so many slime anime. Tensura's they're still the best. Okay, that was the first one, right? Okay. Bishojo made a post of a new art of Haruka. And Chibi commented, I love this camel. Great story characters. Openings are wonderful by themselves. Okay. I recently heard about this other anime that I might watch. Hold on, let me pull up the name of it. I might watch. I watched the first episode today, and I might watch more of it. It's called Aoteke Reunite. It's also known as. I just gotta secure my connection. It's also known as Lord of Lords Reunite. And it's a mecha anime, a fantasy world that's also kind of Western. Like Western as in Wild West with guns and stuff. Where like there are these mechs called solids that like people sit on top of and ride on top of. But then there's these other, and those are like man-made mechs. Oh, have you heard of it, Nabiru? But then there's these ones that were like made by the gods that were like the Ryus that are like really powerful, and the main character summons it with a card or something. And he's like obsessed with becoming a knight because he got a knight mech or something. Have you seen it before, Nabiru? Yeah, it's 52 episodes, and then there's 3 OVAs that take place afterwards. I think the third OVA is like a goofy, like silly one because the art for it looks really silly. It's 90s, so you know we'll have some good, at least some amusing bits. Yeah, that's definitely how I feel. Like it looked interesting. I'm not entirely sure because like normally I like my mech shows with some kind of political drama, and it just when I looked at it, it looked like Escaflowne with SD with super deformed mechs. That was kind of the vibe I got from it. Um, and it looked like it had like no romance or something. Well, maybe it has a romance. I don't know. There was a female character. You never know in mecha anime when they introduce a female character if she's going to be a love interest. We talked about that earlier. Okay. But yeah, I might watch it. I'll see. Ooh, someone posted a picture of the Gundam Easy 8. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I was just looking to see if there was anything cool to react to on La Facebooks, on the Book of Faces. We're already running a little bit late, but that's okay. Oh my gosh. Someone made a post that's like a poll that's like, what's your favorite tech innovation? Illegal cab company, illegal hotel chain, fake money for criminals, plagiarism machine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a funny take for what's become our gig economy. Okay. All right. Ah. Okay, now this meme I have to share real quick. Hold on. This will be the last thing I share before we end for the night. It's funny, like, didn't have a lot of people come through, but I've noticed like the reason why I felt comfortable doing this is like my last couple of these, I've had decent turnouts. I have two moods: Mecha Pilot, Illegal Street Racer. I talked to my mom the other day about my intrusive sleep stuff and about what's been going on with the autism and everything. And like my mom very vehemently restated that she thought I needed to get a sleep study done because she thought I might have uh might have sleep apnea. And I looked up the conditions for sleep apnea, and they're different. I don't like, and she just kept saying she wouldn't listen to what I was trying when I was trying to open up to her about the experiences I was going through with dealing with learning about intrusive sleep and what that means for me because it matches my symptoms so well. Um, and it felt like she just wasn't listening. Like she just kind of was like, "Oh, you have to go do this. It's probably this other thing." And I'm like, "Okay, mom, great." And that was kind of sad because there was part of me that was hoping that I could like. There's part of me that always hopes every time I interact with my mother that it's going to be a good interaction, that we're going to have, that it's going to be some kind of like deep emotional interaction. And like, it's really funny. Just like, my mom wants me to, I know she wants me to move back in with her, move down there somewhere where she lives. And I'm like, I'm never going back there. But yeah, that's a story for another time. Uh, this so I don't forget to remove it later. All right, so let's wind down and end for tonight. I want to say to Nabiru, to Silva, to anyone who watched the stream and didn't say anything and was lurking in the background, to everyone who watches this VOD later, I want to say that I love all of you and I believe in each and every one of you. I think that you are all wonderful, special, precious, and unique individuals with a powerful, one-of-a-kind energy that only you can bring to everything you do. I believe each of you makes this world a better place just by being in it, and I'm grateful every day to live in a world with you in it. I'm also grateful that you give me your time, your energy, and your attention. I'm grateful to all of you for coming to my streams, for viewing my content, for leaving comments, for being members of this community, and helping to make the Star Hunters a great place. Always remember the Star Hunter motto: shoot for the stars, have wonderful adventures, live your dreams, and always stop to enjoy the memes. I do ask that you like the stream. It helps the algorithm with pushing it out to other people. If you're watching the VOD, feel free to leave a comment of anything that you thought wanted to make a mention of. I do read them all as long as you're not banned. And I do ask if you have any friends, family, acquaintances, rivals, arch nemesis, what have you, that you think would enjoy my content, feel free to invite them to my next stream, which is going to be Friday, 8:30 p.m. EST. And or just show them some of my content. I do have other content up. And I hope that you all have a great night. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing on YouTube, feel free to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and ding the notification bell to let you know whenever I go live and when I release any new content. And it blah, 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 blah. My brain farted. My brain farted right now. This is what happens when you run late. I do suggest that even if you are subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed. Sometimes YouTube will randomly unsubscribe people. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing outside of YouTube, then feel free to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. I look forward to interacting with you even more and more, and expanding the community and having more people to interact with. Please remember, you're never required to donate to be a member of this community. You're never required to give money to be welcome here. Just your time, your energy, and your attention are payment enough. With that in mind, if you still ever feel motivated to donate to improve the stream or to improve my life, there are links where you can do that in the description down below. I'm grateful to every to all of you for every little bit that you all make so much possible in my life, and I'm thankful to all of you. Um, have yourselves a great night, and I hope that you enjoy some good anime and some good times with good people.